Chapter 631, The King and the Emperor. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. The flame formed by the flaming red crows turned most of the sky a red flame-like color. From afar it was like a dazzling picture of a fire cloud inlaid in the sky. On the horizon, a fat black cat was walking on its two hind legs while putting the forelegs behind his body just like a man's hands. It looked at the distance. The sun shining over the ground gave it a magnificent shadow. From the shadow it looked like a fat tiger. Behind the black cat followed a tall young woman who exuded a strong, chilly atmosphere. A layer of white frost fell with every step that she took. The woman was Orange Star, emissary of the Black Market Excellence Hall. Orange Star emissary looked into the distance with a hint of firmness in her eyes, saying, "This is unusual. Thousands of flaming red crow have gathered here. They must be controlled by the Blood Crow King." This means what the master felt is correct. The owner did not die and must be nearby. Although Orange Star emissary had been reluctant to take a cat as her teacher, its understanding of the Holy Road was extremely surprising. She even thought that the understanding of her master, Ghost Saint, of the Holy Road was inferior to that of the cat. With its guidance, Orange Star emissary made rapid progress in cultivation. Almost every day, her understanding of the Holy Road improved to a new level. In addition to that, Blackie occasionally brought out some long-lost martial techniques and occult arts to help her practice. Each one was broad, profound, and powerful, which Orange Star emissary found herself unable to refuse. That was exactly why Orange Star emissary worshipped Blackie as her teacher. She really wanted to know the many good things she could learn from it. Could Jiang Yuochen die so easily? I made a great discovery in the battlefield of Primitive World, so I need to do some major events together with him, said Blackie sophisticatedly. After returning from the battlefield of Primitive World, Blackie had already heard the news about Jiang Yuochen and knew that his identity as a time and space descendant had been exposed. Everyone said that he had died. Only Blackie believed that Jiang Yuochen must still be alive. Based on its sense of the yin-yang wooden graph, Blackie brought Orange Star emissary to the Eastern Evil Land, looking for Jiang Yuochen to do big events together. She knew that Blackie had made a huge discovery in the battlefield of Primitive World. However, no matter how she cajoled Blackie, she could get nothing from its mouth. Although the cat looked silly and fat, in fact, it was quite astute and practical. It was extremely hard to get useful information from it. Blackie sniffed and looked up at the distance again with a deep look and exclaimed, "Oh, why do I smell the powerful reek of blood?" Orange Star emissary also felt the intense energy fluctuation coming from far away. She ran the genuine chi inside to converge on her eyes. She could vaguely see a massive blood cloud emerging in the sky. A human-shaped monster seemingly stood in the blood cloud. The wave of energy had originated from its body. Even if they were 300 miles away, people could still feel a burst of fear. At this moment, Jiang Yuochen gazed at Blood Crow King above him and explained to Mu Lingxi. He said, "That single punch from the refining warrior seriously injured the Blood Cow King, so he was forced to reveal his true body." Later, the Blood Crow King drank the blood of the flaming red crow prince to recover from his injuries. After revealing the true body, he doesn't need to maintain the disguise. He will become more terrifying. Everyone had their own secrets and trump cards. Jiang Yuochen and Blood Crow King were no exceptions. Only when left with no options would they reveal their secrets. In the sky, the Blood Crow King looked at Jiang Yuochen in astonishment and smiled gloomily. "After 800 years, I did not expect that someone among the young generation of Kunlun's field would still remember the immortal vampires. Jiang Yuochen, you are talented. As long as you give Yi to me and become my blood servant, I will spare your life." Jiang Yuochen said with a cold grunt, "After 800 years, the immortal vampires are still so arrogant. It seems that Emperor Ming shouldn't have just locked you on Manji Island but directly killed you instead." The Blood Crow King's eyes narrowed and observed Jiang Yuochen. He asked, "How do you know about the battle between the Sacred Central Empire and our immortal vampires 800 years ago?" "It's interesting. Actually, the reason the immortal vampires have returned to Kunlun's field is for revenge. The immortal vampires have already infiltrated the major forces of Kunlun's field. When the time comes, we can eradicate the dregs of the Sacred Central Empire, including the so-called Ming Hall." Jiang Yuochen said with a smile, Aren't you afraid that I will send a message back to the Ming Hall and inform them to destroy you first? The Blood Crow King laughed, apparently without any fear, and said, first of all, you have to escape from me. However, the two of you, plus a refining warrior, couldn't possibly take me on. Even in the Fish Dragon realm, only the saintly being of the 9th change in the Fish Dragon realm could fight against him. Even if a refining warrior exhausted its holy chi, it would end up a pile of scrap metal. Naturally, Blood Crow King was very confident in his power. Somebody sneered from somewhere. I hate arrogant people like you the most. Furthermore, you're shameless before me. Do you really think that the King of Slaughter is just a decoration? On the horizon, Blackie held up its head and puffed out its chest, looking sideways with its round eyes. It walked slowly with an arrogant spirit, wishing to scare off the Blood Crow King with his vigor. However, it did not look sinister due to its obese body. Moreover, its aura was not aggressive enough. It could not scare a monk of the 1st change in the Fish Dragon realm. What more the Blood Crow King? Everyone turned their eyes toward Blackie. Upon seeing Blackie, Mulink's eyes lit up and her eyelashes fluttered in surprise. Blackie. Zhang Yuochen was not surprised at all because Blackie could perceive his position and he could perceive Blackie's. In fact, he had already known that Blackie was nearby. The Blood Crow King looked at Blackie, eager to know who it was who dared to call itself an emperor. Ever since Empress Kaiyao ascended the throne, no one had dared to use the title emperor. When the Blood Crow King saw that Blackie was a fat cat, he shook his head disappointedly, with a contemptuous look. He looked away from Blackie and saw Orange Star Emissary behind Blackie. The Blood Crow King's face changed and he huskily said with a smile, long time no see, Orange Star Emissary. Orange Star Emissary frowned when she saw the hideous Blood Crow King. She said, I really did not expect that you are from the immortal vampires. Why did you lurk in the black market? The immortal vampires could be called the common enemies of man. They lived by sucking the blood out of other creatures. Even the black market could not stand them. Why? The influence of the black market was widespread throughout Kunlun's field. Of course, we immortal vampires want to have a share. You're greedy, said Orange Star Emissary. The Blood Crow King coldly said, now that my identity has been exposed, all of you must die today. You are so shameless in front of me. Believe it or not, I can eat you alive now. Blackie looked more arrogant than the Blood Crow King. His eyes were vicious. The Blood Crow King couldn't stand this fat cat. You dare to call yourself an emperor before me? If that is so, I will kill you first. The Blood Crow King swooped down and appeared above Blackie. He threw out his sharp claws and incited a mass of spiritual blood to strike against Blackie. Bang! Suddenly attacked by the paws, Blackie flew out like a black ball and slammed against a small hill. With a loud crash, the hills collapsed and buried it. The Blood Crow King had not been able to see through Blackie's cultivation, so he had thought highly of it. Therefore, he took the initiative to attack. It had spoken so arrogantly, so it might have some real capacities. Unexpectedly, that fat was only talking big. It was completely bluffing. It was dealt with by just a slap. Funny. So it is just crap. The Blood Crow King grinned, but soon his face froze and his laughter suddenly stopped as if his throat was stuck. How could this be? Beyond expectation, the fat cat actually swung out of the mudstones and shook its body quickly. With a puff, it shook off the dust from its long hair and said coldly, you are so shameless to attack me. Hey, you have infuriated me. Today, you are toast. The Blood Crow King looked dignified. No one knew that he had exerted all his strength just now to give that slap. Even a monk of the 9th change in the Fish Dragon realm would be beaten to death, not to mention a cat. However, that fat cat was not injured at all. Such a terrifying defensive power horrified the Blood Crow King. Blackie leaned its head to one side and proudly said, if I fight against you personally, I will degrade my status. I will send my disciple to deal with you. You go and kill him on my behalf. Yes. Orange Star Emissary moved forward. With every step she took, the icy air bursting out of her body became a little stronger. When she took the 9th step, the ground within 5 kilometers of her feet became completely frozen by the icy cold.